War Machine is that type of character that no one ever seems to talk about, and for good reason. I mean, he's never really done anything in the MCU really, besides being a Skrull in a bad TV series. But besides that, he's a character that I think deserves some flowers. That's what this video is going to be about. Me giving War Machine his flowers. If you like this type of content, then make sure you subscribe for more. While growing up in South Philadelphia, James Rhodes was frequently bullied, and he longed to forge a new life for himself by moving away. Despite his hardship, he remained noble and good, even forming a close childhood bond with a girl named Glenda Saldival. He even went as far as defending her against other child bullies. However, when he injured another child in the process, Rhodes was sent to a juvenile correctional facility. Later in life, Rhodes joined the Marines. He served for several tours in Southeast Asia, whilst also studying to become an aviation engineer. He became close to a certain Marine, Parnell Jacobs, who even introduced to his childhood friend Glenda. They fell in love and later on married. Despite his military background, Rhodes hated taking the lives of others. It took a toll on him. After his helicopter was shot down during a mission, he was found by Tony Stark, aka Iron Man. The two worked together to escape. Out of the Iron Man armour, Stark offered Rhodes a job as his pilot, which he took once his tour of duty was complete. In the meantime, Rhodes had also been working with Parnell Jacobs until he was devastated to find out that his friend was a hired gun running for the Santo Marco dictator. While Rhodes was working for Stark International, him and Stark became devoted friends. Rhodes was there when Tony faced Justin Hammer, as well as when Tony was fighting his own personal demons. During one of Tony's weakest moments, he accidentally revealed his identity to Rhodes. But later on, Rhodes would take his friend's place in the Iron Man armour to defeat Magma, and Rhodes would do so again when Iron Man faked his death. Although he was upset when he later learned the truth, the two reconciled when Tony asked him to keep the armour and Rhodes took on the War Machine mantle. Whilst Rhodes doesn't have any superhuman powers like the other Avengers, the War Machine armour is designed by Tony Stark and gives him unprecedented strength and a massive arsenal of weapons. War Machine can fly at Mach 2 and is equipped with a variety of projectile weapons such as repulsor rays, bombs, guns and missiles. That's one thing I like between Iron Man and War Machine. Iron Man's design is meant to be more sleek and futuristic looking, whilst War Machine's design is meant to be a walking tank essentially and shows all the weapons he has on him. A unit beam in his chest plate can project virtually every light in the spectrum, and an EMP pulse generator that can shut down electronic devices within a 50-yard radius. Not to mention that the armour can reboot itself within minutes. But the War Machine armour isn't just good at offense, it's good at defense too. The armour has kept Rhodes safe from radiation and physical attacks, and it is specially coated to resist radar detection. It has a holographic generator which can alter the appearance of the armour, rendering War Machine basically unrecognisable. Now you may be wondering, how does Rhodes operate the suit? Unlike Tony, who has a Jarvis or Friday, Rhodes doesn't have an AI system to help him navigate the suit. Well, I'm glad you asked, because the armour systems are operated by a cybernetic link to Rhodes that shields him from mental attacks. They also include a targeting computer, radar and environmental sensors. And don't worry, if War Machines ever get beaten to death, the armour contains life support systems including an hour's worth of air supply and can be sealed for space and underwater travel. It's a shame that Tony couldn't put a parachute in there though. When he's not wearing his own War Machine arm, Rhodes carries on Iron Man's tradition while facing threats such as Thunderball, the Radioactive Man, and other foes on Battleworld during the Beyond the Secret Wars. While fighting alongside Tony, Rhodes helped defeat the Ironmonger and the Mandarin. You already know when it comes to friendships in Marvel, Rhodes and Tony's friendships are tight. You could say that their friendship is as tight as an iron grip.
Oh brother, this guy stinks!
They might not have the perfect relationship, they definitely clashed over the years, but they managed to reconcile and support one another through their difficulties. That's one thing I wish we got more of in the MCU, Tony and War Machine teaming up. After parting ways with Tony Stark, Rhodes joined the West Coast Avengers and joined forces with Mockingbird, Wonder Man and Tigra. He fights with the Avengers as both Iron Man and War Machine at the request of the US military. Sometimes he uses a modified Iron Man armour to become the latest Iron Patriot, like what we saw in Iron Man 3. However, the originator of this suit is Norman Osborn. Speaking of suits, just like Tony, Rhodes has worn a variety of War Machine armors throughout the years. I want to go over some of the most notable armors that he's worn. War Machine 2.0. While active as a part of the Secret Wars, Rhodey also acts as a liaison between Stark and the US military. He becomes embroiled in a plot involving an apparently dead genius named Palmer Eldley, and his suit is destroyed in the process. Rhodey is then given a new suit of sleeker, more compact design by Tony, which allows him to act as a war machine for the 21st century. War Machine eventually managed to stop Aldi's plot to infect the globe with nanites containing his consciousness, defeating him once and for all. Me personally, I don't really like the suit design. It feels too similar to Iron Man in that I prefer War Machine being bulky and heavy. Next one is the Iron Patriot. Now this one I actually really like, and I'm glad that it was in Iron Man 3 for the little time we had it and made an appearance in Avengers Endgame. But this suit is basically what if Captain America and War Machine did a fusion dance. My only problem with it is that we never got to see Rhodey go all out with the armor. I wish at the end of Iron Man 3 him and Tony Stark was fighting together essentially. I know that in the comics he gets the suit for a different reason than in the movies. In the movies it's more of a PR move, making him more friendly or something like that. In the comics, Rhodey basically has to deal with a situation involving a fleet of Iron Patriot drones, which have been given sentience by Mentalo. Rhodey is able to communicate with the drones and convince them that their destructive actions are wrong, offering instead to teach them a better way. The drones respond by sending him a new suit of the Iron Patriot armor to wear as their leader. As the Iron Patriot, Rhodey has done a number of things with this suit, including entering a relationship with Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel. War Machine is later present with Carol when Ulysses has a vision of Thanos arriving on Earth. The Avengers head to Project Pegasus to keep Thanos from stealing the Cosmic Cube, and a massive fight endures. Though Thanos is eventually brought down, he manages to kill War Machine in the process, and this basically kicks off Civil War 2. Rhodey's death sends shockwaves through the superhero community and divides Tony and Carol on their stance regarding Ulysses' power. Moving on to one of the weirdest suits Rhodey's ever worn. It's the Eidolon Warwear suit. I'm just going to get this out of the way. I don't like this suit whatsoever. It looks weird. It makes him look like a swamp creature for some reason. But basically the suit quickly adapts to environmental conditions and or possible dangers such as sealing against the vacuum of space. Protective force fields can also be created, and the suit is capable of healing itself and the wearer from injuries. The suit flies incredibly fast and is suited for interstellar travel, so it can do all of this except look good. Seriously, I don't like this suit whatsoever. I mean, it's a cool design in concept, but I think they stray too far away from what the War Machine design is meant to be. Apparently the reason why they did this was because to distance War Machine from Iron Man, to make him more of his own character, which I understand, but I think they took the wrong inspiration. Next, we have the Sentinel armor. Now, from a design standpoint, I think it looks pretty cool. But in terms of the story, it's kind of weird. It's like you're siding with the Sentinels that kill mutants. I don't know about this one, Rhodes. But if we're just talking about the design, I think it's really good. I like that it incorporates both War Machine's design and the general Sentinel's design in terms of the colours. The armour is constructed of a unique mix of steel and fiberglass based on a formula developed by Mr. Fantastic. The hands can fire pulsar beams while blasters are mounted in the eyes and chest area. Next we have is the Stantec armour. Now this to me is the definitive look of War Machine. Big and heavy and has bare guns all around him. The gauntlets possess blasters, shoulder mounts include a Gatling gun, beam weapons and rocket launcher. The armour also has satellite interference with internal monitors that allow him to access any database on the planet. I just want to talk about how Rhodey's been handled in the MCU and why I honestly think it's such a missed opportunity not to give him more screen time. I know Rhodey in the comic books doesn't have the most elaborate backstory in the world or the most interesting one, but at least we know stuff about him. That's more than I can say for the Rhodey we have in the MCU. Seriously, we don't know anything about this character. Like, does he have a love interest? Does he have a wife? Does he have a kid? What does he do in his spare time? We don't know. The only thing that we do know is that he's best friends with Tony Stark and that he's a military man. And he has the power to change himself from a light-skinned black man to a dark-skinned black man. In all seriousness though, I'm kind of glad that Terrence Howard isn't War Machine anymore because he looks kind of crazy nowadays. I think the biggest contribution that his character has made to the MCU was that he wasn't even him. He was a Skrull the whole time. Now, I understand where they was going with this twist, but it kind of fell on its face because you mean to tell me that when Civil War happened and when Rhodey crashed, a Skrull swapped his body for himself and it's just been a Skrull using the War Machine suit. So Rhodey didn't actually get to see Tony Stark die. Rhodey wasn't there for Infinity War. Rhodey doesn't even know what's been happening after Thanos. Now here's how they could save you. We know that Armor Wars is going to be featuring Rhodey as the main character. It would be cool seeing Rhodey's reaction to what's happened since Thanos and how he's been dealing with the emotional stress of not seeing his best friend die and not being there to protect him when he needed him most. Now the comic story of Armor Wars is basically Tony Stark going around and destroying all of his armors that were stolen from him. It would be cool seeing Rhodey take on the responsibility of finding and destroying the armors so that the Stark legacy isn't tainted. But knowing Marvel, I already think that this Armor Wars is already scrapped and cancelled and that we won't ever see Rhodey in his own project forever. Because I'm not gonna lie, I think majority of the people except me have forgotten that this project is even meant to be a thing, and I don't even know if it's cancelled or not, but I hope it's not, because could you imagine a 2-hour film of Rhodey flying across the world and mowing down people who have stolen Stark technology, and we get cool action scene after action scene. You see, that's the main reason why I want this film, is because you can't tell me that War Machine doesn't have some of the best action in the MCU. I just want 2 hours of that. Please, Kevin Feige, I pray. I want this movie so bad. But anyway, if you like this video, then please like, subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.